Hello everybody, Thy Lord Root here, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play OpenTTD. So, I think it's worth pointing out that we have actually run into cash flow issues the past couple of times, and I've done some research on this, in particular, how we might solve them. And so I'm going to generate a new world here, and I'm going to pause the game immediately, because as it turns out, we need to have some idea of what is in the most demand right now before we build this network. We haven't been taking that into consideration, and if we bring this out, you'll see we have a few options here. We have valuables, which we don't really have. It's 182 pounds per ton, or 10 units rather. And then we have goods, which we need to work our way up to. So coal is where it's at. And what we would do for that then is we would go up here to our industries and we would sort by production and then sort descending. So what do we have for coal? Well, for coal, we happen to have just up here at the top 176 tons. So we need to ask the question, is this near anything? And you can see I brought up the map here. What we want in particular are power plants. And there is in fact a factory over here, which we do not want. The power plants are in red. So we will have to ship this a long way. Unfortunately, that's just going to have to be how it is. However, we do have an advantage here. That advantage is largely that we have this guy over here. Now, we have a couple of things we want to do. We want to find the closest town and get our depots in while we can, because it turns out trains make the local population complain quite a fair deal. And I'm just going to unpause that real quick. With that having been noted, we now need to build ourselves a factory here. And this factory is just going to be for shipping here. I might add myself a little bit of a bypass rail eventually. But this is a good location for a number of reasons. One, we're next to another coal plant. It is very easy for us to expand this. The other, of course, is that we need to add another station down here. And I'm going to have 4 tracks here because this is going to be a main point of distribution. Turns out we could do steel as well if we upgrade this enough. So, next we need to decide on our train length, and our platform is 4 units wide. So, let's go ahead, and actually this guy will maybe be our receiving here. So I've already screwed this up just a little bit, but that's okay. We can get that money back very easily, in fact. And this will provide us now a point of entry, and if we go this other way, we will have, in addition to that, a point of egress. And basically what we're going to try to do here is wrap around. So input will be here. And output will be here. And these guys will merge up like that. Not a bad start. But we could do better. Well, I mean, we always could. And unfortunately, the difficult part is going to be for us to get these two guys in sync. But this is a reasonable place for us to start, I think. We'll have long, straight pieces of track. And the longer we transport these guys, the further out they can go. So I'm just going to put some horizontal track here. So we can cross over and not have to worry about clipping this town. And let's go ahead and get this guy going. Now, if I've done this right, it appears I now have an issue to where I'm clipping over into this guy. We want to be roughly in the center, though. So we'll get this turn here sorted out. And we will get our first rail network going. And the idea that I have here is that this will be our trunk. This line will more or less service everything we want. Now, this is a final stop here. And I think between two trains, we'll be okay. So, I'm basically setting this up so that our right side here is our output, and our left side will be our input. And so by coming out here, we now have this set up so that we can just loop around like this. We run into a bit of a problem here, however, because we happen to have no good way to get across here. So I have to put a bridge. Now, as it turns out, bridges are not the best thing to utilize here. But we really don't have much of a choice. let's get this guy going real quick. We now want to come down here and put a depot and get everything signaled correctly. So let's do a little bit of landscaping here. My thought is that I'm going to try to build the depot maybe about there. Seems good to me. And having this little outlet here will allow the train to bypass this. We're still doing okay on money. I hadn't taken out any loans, I don't think, so I'm going to borrow another 50 grand. That seems to be a reasonable thing to do. Finally, we need this guy here to be properly signaled up, and that can be done quite easily. And this should keep us from going backwards. Now let's set our, you can see I've already preset our depth here. Our signal deal to 5 automatically, and I'm now doing some calculations here so that we are able to get this guy set up here. Let's see, I think this will be okay. As will this, we'll just come down here and get those signals set up properly, because that is going to be a big issue for us if we can't. And as luck would have it, let's see, there is no railroad track here. As luck would have it, we've got little to worry about. This is, of course, going to be a one-way. We'll have an entry signal here and 2 exit signals. So let's get this show on the road. We're already in October, and it seems like we've larked about. But as it turns out, we're actually pretty good on this if we... first of all, getting the Ginzu, because it is the train that is most likely to be reliable for us, and we want that. And I am just going to have this guy visit our coal mine up here. And we will go back down to here. And when we visit that coal mine, we will full load any cargo. We'll clone that train, and then we'll get both going. That'll work just fine for us. You can see we are going in the proper direction as long as I got the signaling correct, which may be a little bit easier said than done. Then we should have an uninterrupted flow here. And these guys can continue doing their thing. See, so we have an entry signal here. These guys should be spaced out all proper. I'm going to wire up, in addition to that, an additional train station. Again, I'm going to make this a terminus station here. And we will just get these guys set up. As necessary. So, actually, I think I screwed that one up just a little bit. That's meant to be more like that. So, right now we're in a little bit of debt. We've gone through this first year without really doing much. However, we do have transportation we can deal with here, and we have to think. If we are working on a town that we want to grow, maybe like non-town does seem to be a pretty good choice here. We have to maybe get these guys connected while we make money. Incidentally, I will leave our finances open so that our cash flow can be seen. But even between these two guys here, we make a lot of money just by growing these two guys. So we have I think a fairly good deal here for our bus station. I like doing bus stations like this just because we can get cargo and other things in one deal. You can see now that our train has left the station and is slowly working its way up. We will get a road depot here, and Portfield could use some attention as well. Now this we can get to grow just a little bit. As can Kenningville as well. One of the things I found is that there are people who don't really care for the buses. Okay, there's an interesting little bug going on here. Let me figure out what's going on real quick. Let's go to our train here. Those are red, I believe, because I put the wrong kind of signal down. Let's convert that to the proper signal type. In fact, let's even get rid of these because they're not necessary. We'll just use these guys here. They'll ignore them. Go about their own way. We will be making the profit soon enough. Just you wait. Now, what we did beforehand worked pretty well. We had these buses moving all about here. Let's clone this. Well, let's not. It seems like I am getting down to the point to where that may not be such a good idea. Where's our other town, by the way? We went to, was it Deddingworth? Maybe it was Mudhan, I can't remember. Kenningville is the name of that. And we have broken down. It seems like full unload may be in order. Let's go down here and improve our network a bit so that these guys can loop around if necessary. This creates a bit of a bottleneck, it would seem, but we've already made 12 grand, which is way better than what we were looking at. These guys are, of course, servicing themselves, so that is nice to say the least. And I think it's okay now to take out maybe 20 grand worth of loans. Let's get another depot going. I've already made 23 grand here. Let's get this guy properly set up. And let's get two of them. In fact, let me get some signals down as well. That seems to have been a bit of a problem here. Let's make sure that these guys know that this is one way. Yes, yes, I know. Train 3 has too few orders. We'll full load this. And we'll get going. But first, we'll clone this guy. Now, the wisdom of this is perhaps debatable, but we're already making a fair amount of money. If we can prevent wrecks, then that'll be the good thing for us. So, we are outputting how much coal per year? 117 tons. Easy. Where were we? Back to our road network here. Got these guys here waiting, and no mail yet. However, I think this place may be a good place for us to start working on a train station. And I'm going to do that. Even though we have... Actually, even better would be here. And I think if we just raise this just a little bit, we are going to be in fairly good shape. As we will have both coal and livestock that we can gather. So not a bad little deal. But we may want to level this out just a little bit. By focusing on one resource type early on, what we're doing is we're allowing for expansion here. Let's get ourselves a little bit of a buffer going while we can. So this is our terminus station here. And I'm going to go ahead and get bus stops down here. This is a good town to grow. It looks like they want money for that. Now let's not overdo this. to get around this particular issue here. Well, if I can, anyhow. Is I'm going to have some bypass rails. That appears to be a good spot here. This will allow us to skip past this train station, as we may wish to do. Money isn't so much of a problem yet. And we got our transportation network going that is probably making us just a little bit of money. And let me turn off the sound. You can see we made a ton of money that year, though. It's all a matter of us getting everything in control here. We don't want to ignore too much of this, to be sure. We have tons of coal here, so I think it would be within our best interest to maybe, if we go to our stations here, then let's do that. Let's go to, I think it's Great Punt Field or somewhere around there, where we have this guy here. Now with this 19 grand, we will begin to get these guys going. I'm going to build a bridge. I actually see this as becoming a major point of entry here. No, we can't, unfortunately, or maybe we can. It is not quite possible to build down that slope as much as we would want. Unfortunately, that is forbidden in this particular instance. However, we do have this option available to us, where we could, if we want to, wrap around. In this particular case, I'm going to get us as expensive as this is going to be. I'm going to give us a way out. And maybe wait on some cash. There we go. Now what we're doing here is we're allowing ourselves to go in different directions if we need to. And the way out is a little bit longer. But we can get past that. And actually, in hindsight, we can just do that. I'll recover these funds here. Maybe take out another 10 grand or so. And finish this guy off. Now this is a big station, so at some point we will want forced depots. For now, all I really want to do, let's just center the map here, is connect these two guys. Let's just come over here just a little bit. But we're no longer in the way here. Slopes, of course. I really do need to use this pathing tool, it seems like. The best tool for the job here. You can see too there's another, this is in Kedborough. Here. Let's just get this guy routed into the network. As you can see, we now have a fairly large network going on here. Let's just get rid of this guy here. and get ourselves some turns going. I think if we come way down here, we will be in our network and therefore able to get these guys hooked in. There we go. That is just fine. I'm gonna put a depot here that these guys can service themselves. So let's do precisely this. Okay, not a bad little start here. Signaling will have to be done, of course. And because of the way that we've done this, let's... I guess it wouldn't hurt to make that one way, but there's really no point to it. But because of the way we've done this, we are now on a very good start here. One which I think will stand to make us a fair amount of profit in the end, if we will just take the necessary steps here. Where's that depot at? We'll do this. Remove that signal so we don't have any collisions. And this guy will eventually loop back on itself. Although I'm going to do myself a favor here and make this track inaccessible. Well, there's really no way we can go down it as such. Wow, 62,000 already. I am already getting a way better feeling about this particular instance here. Now, at some point, it would be worth our while to look for oil. Now we have oil already in some places. But we want oil in other places as well. We want Montam, of course, to be doing its thing. And it will eventually. For now, I think it would be good to finish getting the signaling, which unfortunately can be a bit of a chore. And let's get these guys appropriately made as well. And of course, there comes a script that I need to really quit from running. Now, how are we doing on our cash flow? I think our cash flow is good. So good, in fact, that it is worth our while to build another train. But let's run time forward a bit, get some of this debt taken care of. There we go. We will use what we have in the bank to do two things. The first being we're going to build one of these cars here. If we grab ourselves a coal car, we can get coal going to down here, and we will get a ton of money from this just because of its distance. But on the flip side, okay, how are we lost? Oh, I see what happened here. We're traveling backwards, it seems. Oh, this guy will have to probably turn around here. Although I may have made that corner a bit too sharp for that. This is bound not to end well. Can I get it to turn around? There we go. There we go. We do not need this guy anymore for this loop. It's probably not going to pull much of a profit yet. Let's think about some other things we need as well. We need, for sure, we have a coal plant here, and I think that's going to be a good plant for us. We need to get started on town growth here. I'll stick a guy out here, one out here, one out here, and we'll put the mill drop off there as well. Let's get ourselves a depot built so that we don't irritate the local authorities. And let's take this guy here, level it out some, and create a station like that as a drop-off point. Now, Kedborough could be in the business of making us some profit right now if we handle this correctly. Unfortunately, I had not done so. We got two drop-off points here that both send goods, and that's something to consider as well. This guy is ultimately going to be a major hub of ours when we are finished, given that we have this factory here and we can hit them both. Profit is good, I think. So let's go to our stations and let's go to Kedborough and get ourselves a minor route going so that we can keep these guys happy. If we go from here to here to here, and I think maybe it may be worth our while to put a depot up here as well. And have this loop around, like so. Property maintenance isn't too bad. Not at all. We'll just, yeah, we'll clone these guys here so that this town gets built up. In fact, we'll get these guys rotated. Okay, train 5, where are you? Why can we not turn around? Train 5 is lost because there's no way over to it. I see. Okay, turn around. You're going to make it into that station, whether you like it or not. We can zoom in here whenever we wish. And I'm going to take out this track here as well. Now we are full loading here, and we should get a ton of profit once this happens. I mean, we've had enough issues with it already that we better, right? We'll get something like this going. We have a terminus station here that we'll have. And we will get these guys constructed. We could also get Kedborough in on this as well. So the trick seems to be with this that we would take this guy here. And do something kind of like this, to where we are basically setting up these networks that all hook back to this one spot. You see, the mistake we've been making, or at least so far as I can tell, is that there's really been no place to dump these guys. And if we do this correctly, and I believe we have, oh, we need money. Lots and lots and lots of money. But if we do this correctly, then we're going to be in a situation now to where and this is, of course, assuming that we are going the correct way. Hopefully this guy does pick the correct deal here. When we come back next time, it should be nothing for us to set up a couple of trains here. That we'll just repay that so we don't keep it. But it'll be nothing for us to set this up so that we now have this guy here. And in fact, I'm going to take out this rail so these guys are not tempted to just pass on through. And so when we come back, that will be the plan. Is that we'll get this guy here doing his thing. And we'll just leave it at that, I think. We'll just get this signal placed. And I do want to see how much profit that guy brings in this one train that we worked so hard to unload. That is, which train? That is train number 5. It seems to have brought in close to 20 grand or so. But that'll be it for now. So this has been Thy Lord Root, and I will see you later.